Welcome to this short presentation about e-species, which addresses the question that's often asked, is there a need for it? At the latest scientific consensus conducted early in 2012, it's been estimated that there are approximately 8.7 million species of life on Earth. Of these, approximately 4 million belong to the three kingdoms of archaebacteria, eubacteria and protists. That's to say, species of life that are so small you would need either a magnifying glass or a microscope in order to actually view them. And of the remaining species, those in the plants, animals and fungi kingdom, 1.8 million or so have been positively described, such as our friend here, the African mantis, or Sphodromantis viridis. And that raises a challenge or two. The first challenge is that for the remaining species to be positively described, for us to be able to map all life on Earth, utilizing the current scientific community in terms of both the human and financial resource, it's been estimated would take somewhere in the region of 1,000 years. The second challenge is that if, as eSpecies proposes, that we utilize the eyes and the ears of the young in order to supplement the resources of the scientific community, then we need to understand that we're addressing a generation that is not as connected to the natural world as previous generations have been. That is to say, the current generation is very much into its technology, it's into electronic games, and most importantly, it's very connected in terms of electronic social media. So what eSpecies is looking to achieve is to combine those challenges around a single solution. But that still leaves the question, is there a need to do this? Well, we believe there is, and here's an example of perhaps why we should be looking at this seriously. Earlier this year, between May the 11th and the 14th, OnePoll conducted a survey of 2,000 sea adults where they asked them a number of questions. One of those, as you can see, was where does milk come from? Hearteningly, or on the positive side, 41% of the respondents did come back with the answer cows. On a more worrying note, 8% came back with bulls, and between the two of them that still represents less than 50% of anything approaching a correct answer, with remaining answers covering answers such as supermarket or cartons. Another question that was asked was where do eggs come from? This time the result was slightly better, in that 67% of respondents at least did come back with chickens or some kind of fowl. However, what's much more disconcerting than even the previous answer with bulls is that 11% came back with the answer wheat. Why, you may ask? Well, if you think about it, we're dealing with a generation that's been brought up on shrink-wrapped, instant-fix, supermarket-supplied foods and snacks. So if for my lunchtime snack I'm having a mini or a full-size Scotch egg, the egg's in the middle, but of course the first thing you see on the outside is breadcrumbs. So 11% deduced that eggs must be made of maize or wheat. So we believe there is a need, not just from this, but from other surveys that have been conducted. So eSpecies looks to answer that with a website and an app that will allow you, through a smartphone, to snap any form of flora and fauna around you and subsequently and almost instantly identify it. Having done that, you have the ability to post it to your eSpecies page, and bearing in mind that we are dealing with a socially aware and connected generation, you can pin it to Google Earth and look who else in your locality, in your country, on your continent even, has snapped the same species of life, and start a discussion on it, and furthermore share it more widely by being able to share it on all the major social media platforms. And how do you identify it? Well, using the app, you click on capture and take a snap of your species of life. You're then immediately given the option to identify it, which then brings down the three kingdoms that we talked about previously of animals, plants and fungi. And using a series of simple drop downs based on a proprietary Bayesian search engine that eSpecies has developed. You can drill all the way down to a series of images, one of which may very likely correspond with what it is that you've snapped. And if it isn't, and bear in mind that James Collier may have snapped one of 2.9 million species of life that have not yet been positively described, then that wasp that he took a snap of and submitted to eSpecies, which eSpecies have then submitted either to the Natural History Museum or the relevant scientific body, may have that wasp named after him. So that may then become Collier's digger wasp, or Sphex ichneumonius jacobus collier. So eSpecies believe there really is a need for this. And if you agree with us, then not only can you go to Crowdcube and become one of the many investors from as little as £10 to become part of this societal change, or alternatively you can go to e-species.org, where you can get in touch directly with the directors and find links to not only our Facebook page but also to the Twitter feed. Thank you for watching and listening, and we hope to engage with you soon.